What is up, Jags fans? Here we are on a Friday night. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. Hope you got to spend some good time with your family, all that stuff. Hope you're having a good plans for New Year's and all of that stuff. Hopefully you're writing down your goals. We talked about on the last show. Write down your goals. Don't put them in your phone. Don't say them to your significant other. Write them down on a piece of paper. Short-term goals, long-term goals of 2024. Write them down. Put it somewhere you'll see throughout the year, and that'll help you can keep yourself accountable a little bit more. Appreciate you guys watching. We got a bunch of film lined up. I watched a bunch of Panthers games. I will admit, I did not watch the Panthers-Falcons game. The reason why is because it's one of the most boring games that I've ever seen in my entire life, and I watched it when I previewed the Falcons game, so I did not watch that one again. Okay, so just there you go. Got a bunch of film lined up. Before we get into all of that, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell from when we do live shows. We do live shows on Tuesdays and Friday nights religiously around here at 9 p.m. So you can set your alarms, you can set your clock, whatever you need to do, Tuesdays and Fridays. Only 2 weeks left of the season, boys, until the playoffs. And who knows how that's going to happen. I think I saw today, if we win against the Panthers and then the Texans and the Colts both lose, then we win the AFC South. So we're praying that happens. That's going to happen. If we lose next week against the Panthers and the Colts and the Texans win, then we can't win the AFC South. So there's a lot on the line here for CJ Beathard and company. I think we'll be okay. I'll give you my opinions on that in a second. But before I do that, I want to hear your opinions. So get into the chat. This is a fan show. I say this every show. I'm a fan. You guys are fans. We love talking football. So get in the chat. Tell me what you think's going to happen in the game this week, what needs to happen for the Jags to win, and how the offense might look different with CJ Beathard in at quarterback rather than Trevor Lawrence. So I think that's going to kind of be what we talk about besides like what the Panthers do and what they've shown on tape. And spoiler alert, Bryce Young has been looking better recently. I think I saw on the Panthers subreddit that since week 10, Bryce Young has had the second lowest interception rating. But in the same vein, he also leads the league in passes thrown away with 45, like passes thrown away. And Jalen Hurts is second with 32. So he's cleared second place by 13 passes thrown away. However, he has graded out as the fifth highest PFF quarterback in the last 2 weeks, regardless of only scoring like 9 points 2 weeks ago. So we'll see what happens. He is playing better. There is one dimension to his game that I'm worried about, and that's him using his legs, because the Jags have been notoriously bad against quarterbacks that can get outside the pocket and that can run. I just had to stop clipping plays of Bryce Young running because I was like, I can't show any more of this because he runs a lot. He gets outside the pocket a lot. He does a lot of those things. I'll just give you one little spoiler alert play right here. Here is one. Where's the first one I had? I kind of misspelled his name a couple times. So here you're going to see him against the Packers. This was last week. They scored, I think, 30 against the Packers. He gets outside the pocket. I mean, he's a quick little guy right there. I mean, there's a lot of these plays coming, but I mean, he does this. He's quick. Another thing about him is I kind of thought going into the game that he was like accurate but didn't have a strong arm. I don't know why I thought that. I mean, I watched him at Alabama a lot. I just thought, okay, he's not very accurate, but he's very accurate. He's high football IQ, but he kind of has he doesn't have a strong arm. He's a small guy. After watching him, the opposite is true. He has a very strong arm, and he's not very accurate. And so, the Panthers fans will blame the offensive line. I know they're going through a transitional coaching period with Chris Tabor taking over as the interim head coach, who was a special teams coach. And I always say special teams coaches make the best head coaches because they delegate the offense and the defense to the coordinators, and they manage the game. And no one manages a football game better than special teams coaches. I'm telling you that right now. Shout out to Jeff Kopp, former special teams coach, head coach that I worked for back in the day, and former Jaguar player. So let's get to some of your comments here. First one in the chat was Ben Perry. He says hello. He also says he was first, which he's right, and he said CJ time. He also gives the I'm chilling emoji. I love that. Kyle Simmons says live. Let's go. Channel member Shay, and he was probably, I hate to break it to all you guys, he's probably my favorite commenter because he knows what he's talking about. I mean, you all do, but Shay like really, really knows what he's talking about. He says, Duval's getting that W with CJ. If Shay says it, I believe it. We're going to see Shay on Sunday. Hopefully I can zoom in and take a picture of him again, like I did last time he was on the field for 45 minutes on the last review. Robert Atzert says CJ time. Ben Perry says CJ to Calvin. Sea Breacher, channel member, says, what up? What up, Sea Breacher? Sea Breacher and me have been gaming a little bit lately on the Twitch channel. You can check out the Twitch channel in the video description if you like Twitch. Some people have been telling me to stream that on YouTube. I'm not quite there yet. That might be an off-season endeavor. Robert Lamison says, I hope Cam Robinson plays. Yeah, me too. I mean, who thought he was such an integral part of this team until recently? Montana says, I'll be there Sunday, first regular season game. Let's go, Montana. If you want to grab a drink, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. I'll be floating around. I usually do. I usually meet up with a lot of people at the games. I like to hang out in the Sky Patio. It's not the Bud Zone, Sky Patio. The Sky Patio is the Bud Zone for, how can I say this nicely? For cultured people. For cultured people, okay? We go to the Sky Patio, okay? Volk Fang, another channel member, says, I only want to see one thing. This team to look like they know what's going on. I'm tired of seeing film here and on Twitter where guys look like they got called up from the NFL affiliate in Asia. Like I said, they're going to have to stop Bryce Young scrambling. Look at this play against the Packers. Like you can watch here. I mean, they love this gun. They're going to be in gun every play. A couple times they're not in gun when they're running the ball short yard situations. But I mean, look at him get outside the pocket here and finds Adam Thielen. And like he has one throw that I have clipped that I haven't pulled up yet to DJ Chark. That's just an amazing throw. The first half of this game was very boring. The second half of this game was very exciting. So that's the problem with watching Panthers film is they'll have stints, and you would expect this from a 2-win team. They'll have stints where they will go like 4 to 5 to 6 consecutive drives where they punt. And I'm not even kidding. Not even kidding. And when they play bad teams, it's like punt, 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 punt. And I was going crazy. Literally going crazy. It was the most miserable I've been watching film. I did get to see a lot of Bryce Young, though, so that was kind of cool. Here's him scrambling again against the Packers. He can use his legs, man. I mean, nothing's there. I mean, he kind of brings his eyes down a little early sometimes. But, I mean, that's solid yardage. And, again, for a team like the Jags who've struggled with scrambling quarterbacks, he's going to get outside the pocket here. Here's him against the Packers again. A lot of Packers film here. The Packers game was like the only game they scored a lot of points, so I was able to clip more. I mean, this play is pretty impressive, actually, now that I remember it. And that's a tutty. That's a tutty. And again, this is what he'll do on third down in the red zone. I mean, he's not maybe get away with a hold there from the left tackle. Watch this left tackle hold right here. It's a hold. The ref looked right at it. Watch the ref. He looks right at it. Watch this. Watch right. Okay. Watch the ref. The umpire. He's looking right at it. He's looking right at it. And he's still looking at it. Like, he sees it. He's not even looking at Bryce Young. He's like, that's definitely a hold, but whatever. I'm not going to call that because the Panthers need some help. Got to make this exciting for the NFL ratings. We'll show one more here while we're against the Saints. This is against the Saints. Here, a different game. Here we go. Saints bring pressure. Bringing pressure gave Carolina fits. Hopefully Mike Caldwell brings pressure. Like, I mean, not afraid to use his legs, boys. And Chuba Hubbard's a heck of a back too, man. I didn't look up his all-purpose yards, but the dude's got to be like up there in all-purpose yards. Ben Perry tells Montana to have fun, brother. A Jarvis Cobb says, is D. Hamilton really that dude, or was he just going up against Fortner all this time? I think he's good, and here's why. I thought he was good last year, and they extended him in the offseason, which I thought was a good move. Then he got really injured, like surgeries, infections, lost weight. Really unfortunate. In the last couple of weeks, we're starting to see him get back to form. I thought he had his best game of the year last week. Really good against the run. He's helping us really in that interior. I'm excited to see how he does these next couple weeks, because if he stays on that upward trajectory, I think we can continue to see him get back to where he was. I like Devon Hamilton a lot. He's a really, really good guy. So I'm rooting for him. Atzert says, clean game is all I want. Play clean and win. And that's what's good about CJ Beathard. I talked about this on the Tuesday night show, is like what he will do that Trevor won't do is he won't take risks. Yes, he's not afraid to throw the ball deep, but he throws the ball deep, but like kind of out of bounds and like kind of too far, like to where only his guy can get it. So he checks the ball down a lot. He's not going to kill you with mistakes. And that's what I think this team kind of needs right now. That's why I said on Tuesday I wouldn't mind sitting Trevor for this game. I think we can beat the Panthers without CJ. Now, I know it's a big game, and we need it. If you have Trevor, I think the number I put on it quantitatively was 75%. If Trevor's 75% or higher, play him. But if he's not playing the tough Terminator-type person that Trevor is, then he's not 75%. So put CJ in there. The Panthers are weak against the run. Last week, the Packers, and specifically Aaron Jones, ran all over them. I wrote it down here somewhere. 162 yards that the Panthers gave up against the Packers. And, we have that dude Evan became a channel member. Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. The channel members are what make this channel go around. And here's why I say that. Yeah, as you can tell, this is not your typical YouTube channel. Okay, this isn't a 10-minute, 15-minute video that's pre-recorded. This is all long-form talking discussion. I love that type of stuff. So I love talking to you guys. Like, talking to you guys is more fun than watching film, watching the Jags. I love talking to you guys because how often do you get to get into a room or a online room with a bunch of Jags fans? So channel members is mainly how this channel goes. So I really appreciate that. And to all the channel members, I really thank you. And to the non-channel members, I get it. Again, I never want to like pressure people into being channel members because, again, I just love talking to you guys. I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you, that dude, Evan. I really appreciate it. The rushing stats. They gave up 162 against the Packers, mainly to Aaron Jones. Then they did pretty well against the Falcons. And that was a really low-scoring game. I think they scored a combined like 12 points in that game between both teams. So they only gave up 52 yards to the Falcons. And that was like Tyler Algieri rushing for like 50 yards. They gave up 97 to the Saints. They gave up 128 to the Bucs. So they'll give up running lanes. Unfortunately, the Jags can't run, so we may have a little bit of an issue there. Shay says, lots of Evan Ingram and ETN dump-offs. Also a few Ridley pass interference drawn on deep balls. Shay is spot on like usual. That's exactly what I was kind of hoping would happen. Robert Lamison says, ETN will have a big day and Cam will bring back some of that swagger to the O-line. I love it. 100 miles per hour, who's also a channel member, says, I expect Beathard to throw for 750 yards, 8 touchdowns, and we realize that it's time to trade Trevor to the Falcons for a 7th. Panthers are dropping 90 on us. He goes, in all seriousness, Evan may get a 200-yard game. 100 miles per hour is kind of taking on that Timmy Devil vibe a little bit. It's okay. We need that around here. What's up, everyone? Says Jaggernaut. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Hope you guys are going to have fun and be safe. Uber. If you're going to drink, Uber. Okay? I saw a stat that New Year's Eve was the #1 day for DUIs in all days. Okay? So that's coming up. The #1 day for DUIs is coming up. Okay? In 2 days. Be smart. Get an Uber. I realize it's going to cost you a little bit of money. There might be a surge. I realize you may have to wait like 20 minutes for an Uber. I get that. It's worth it, boys. It's worth it. Do the right thing. Okay, do the right thing. Here's a good pro tip. Get an Uber and a Lyft account. Get Uber and call an Uber because they're a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner. And if you can't get an Uber, get a Lyft. And then if one gets there before the other one, just cancel the other one. Pay the $5 cancellation fee. I'm telling you, boys. Don't mess up on New Year's Eve. Don't do it. Benjamin Perry says, how do I become a channel member? If you go to the main page on YouTube, you can put become a member. And there's different levels. There's like a $3 membership. There's like a $9, $15, and like a $20 membership. So if you want to do that. And really all it gives you is like a little on the, you can't really see it on the chat because I usually have an overlay in the background, but on my screen, you're a green and not gray. You get a little logo you can put there. Again, not pressuring you into it. You can do it for 1 month for $3, or you can not do it and just come and talk Jags. I'm cool with that. Little Big Man says, hey, bro, why do you hate Mio O'Brien? I don't hate Mio O'Brien. I love Mio O'Brien. I respect the crap out of Mio O'Brien. I'm not going to go on this soapbox. I did this on Tuesday. People I respect in Jags media, because I know people, respect Mio O'Brien. So since they respect Mio O'Brien, I respect Mio O'Brien. The only thing that she's ever done that made me kind of take a step back was she kind of crapped on Jags YouTubers one time. And again, when you talk as much as people like them do, you say things sometimes. She might not have meant it. She might have meant it. But I'm not going to hold. Listen, I'm not going to judge anybody. I'm not going to judge any. I got my own problems. I'm not going to judge. I respect the crap out of her. 100 miles per hour says, go on PC, hit the join button. Mio, every show. I like Mio O'Brien. I respect her. Okay. Sea Breacher says, what happened to Miles Sanders? He's actually not playing bad. That's actually a good bridge to the PFF here. Let's take a look. This is their offensive grades throughout the whole season. I'm just going to hide the chat just because it makes PFF kind of hard to see. So ignore Andy Dalton. He hasn't played that much. Chuba Hubbard, that's what I was saying, dude. He's been playing pretty well. I mean, he played on 500 snaps. Moton, who's actually questionable, has played in every snap with 1042. Iquanu, who's also questionable, has played in every snap. So he plays in about half the snaps, a little more than half, and he grades out pretty well. So Adam Thielen's obviously a dog. Laviska, I don't think played last week, so I don't know if he's injured or what, but playing okay. And I mean, look, this is our threshold. At 4, we're below 70. So that's not good. I mean, it's what they're a 2-win team. Steven Sullivan is actually a good player. I like Steven Sullivan a lot, actually. I didn't clip a Steven Sullivan play, but I've saw a few times where he's very fast for a tight end. Amir Smith-Marset, I like I like their pieces. I do like I don't know what their problem is, but like it's probably Bryce Young. But I like their pieces. He's a fast young player. Iquanu, I like Iquanu. I think he's actually questionable. We all love DJ Chark. Gabe Jackson has been kind of a liability. Bradley Bozeman has been a little bit of a liability, especially the last couple of weeks. Caden Mays, Johnny Heckler with 2 offensive snaps on fakes. We get down to, and these people didn't play very much. Now we get down to the people that played that weren't playing good. Here's your boy Miles Sanders. Well, I don't know why that changes. That's still too big. That's what she said. Miles Sanders, 59.5. Not a great one there. He's okay. Didn't play. Tommy Tremble, meh. Terrence Marshall, I thought was going to be better. The receiver out of LSU. Ian Thomas, we all thought was going to be good. Tight end out of Indiana. Jonathan Mingo has been kind of disappointing this year. Bryce Young, Michael Strachan. So, I mean, but if we look at, so this is the whole season. This was the last game. Okay, so this is like a good indicator of who's healthy and who's playing. This is why we like PFF. Okay, the grades don't really mean a lot, but it tells us who's playing. Okay. DJ Chark had a 2-touchdown game against the Packers, so he's obviously going to grade out really well. Bryce Young, again, has been playing well recently. Adam Thielen, here's your boy Smith. I mean, these guys are playing well right now. They really are. Well, an interesting thing I want to look at is look at like Bryce Young's passing direction, right? Like this is kind of crazy. Look at this. Outside left, he'll throw it there, but not a great completion percentage, under 50%. Doesn't throw it much between the numbers, under 50%. Outside right, he'll test you, but he's only completed 5 all season. Okay, so he's throwing it deep. He's not very accurate. And again, that's what kind of stood out to me. He's like, look at these intermediate throws, right? 10 to 20 yards. Under 50%. Just over 50% in the middle of the field with 2 picks where quarterbacks are typically their highest. Now, these don't count because everyone's high there. But from here up, typically people are very accurate right here. And he hasn't been. Not accurate here either. So he's just not very accurate. I mean, I hate to say it. It is what it is. And Panthers fans will tell you it's because the O-line can't block and he's running for his life. And maybe. But quarterbacks nowadays have to be accurate on the run and the outside of the pocket. So I like his ability to run. I like his ability to throw the ball deep. I like his ability to read defenses. Like when he extends the play with his legs, he typically can find the guy that's open. He just will throw it into the ground right in front of him, or he'll throw it like a little behind him. He's been throwing it behind a lot of people. So that's his big problem right now. Panthers O-line is just abysmal. One of us. Proof it's not pre-recorded, do a backflip. You know, I could do a backflip at one point in my life. When I was a young kid, one of my favorite things to do was like a gainer into a pool. At my age now, not a chance. I'm a golfer now. Now I can drive the ball 300 yards. Not in the air, but like I can drive the ball. My short game sucks, but I have a great driver. If I'm on with my irons, I'm on, like most golfers. And I got a new putter. I actually stole it from my buddy. And with that putter, I shot an 87 last weekend, and that's the best round of my life. And I've only been playing for about 3 years now. So I'll take an 87 all day long. Golf's just great because you get to be outside, you get to hang out with your friends, and you get to drink. I mean, come on. Yeah, I mean, who we kidding? Like, who we kidding, right? Timmy Devils abandoned us. No, he hasn't. He'll jump in here eventually. Philosophers United. Wait till my other channel. I have another YouTube channel. I'm not going to pump right now. We talk about everything. Miss Duval, who gives me a lot of love on Twitter. And Miss Duval, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Says, glad Trevor is resting. We need him long term. Year of the backups. Go CJ. Very good comment right there, Miss Duval. Very good comment. Chances of Doug taking over play calling duties this week. Surely he can see how how poor Press Taylor calls have been. I did see Dilla, who's a great guy. So one of my good friends is good friends with Dilla. So like Dilla likes me because his good friend likes me. Like this dude was in his wedding. So I'm in good graces with Dilla. So I love Dilla. He's awesome. He always pumps me up, gives me shout outs on Twitter all the time. He said on Twitter today that people in the organization, and he's in the know, people in the organization are openly wanting change, and they're picking sides between Press Taylor and Trent Baalke. And what that sounds like to me is people that are on Doug Peterson's group are blaming Trent Baalke, and people that are in Trent Baalke's group are blaming Doug Peterson. That's essentially what it comes down to, because Press Taylor is a Doug Peterson guy. Doug Peterson got fired in Philly after winning a Super Bowl because he didn't want to fire Press Taylor. So he's not going to fire Press Taylor here without a Super Bowl in Jacksonville. So I honestly don't think that Press Taylor's play calling would be any different than Doug Peterson's. I seriously don't, because if it was, Doug Peterson would fire him. But I think it would be very similar, and Doug Peterson knows that stuff. And I'm a firm believer in it's Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's. It's about who you have on the field. It's your talent. It's not the play calling. So what? A trick play gets tackled for loss. Every game that happens. So what? You call a 4th and 1 out of shotgun and run a jet sweep. Every game that happens. We just get a little over sensationalized because it's our team. But if you look at the mistakes this team makes, most other teams make that. It's the things like not tackling in open space. It's the things like not having any physicality in the trenches. And I don't think that comes down to coaching. You don't think coaches are telling their guys to tackle in space? You don't think coaches are telling their offensive defensive linemen to be physical at the point of attack? I'm on Doug Peterson's camp here. I'm not going to lie to you boys. Nick Ludwig, who's also a channel member, I find it hilarious that our coach and GM's biggest faults are already coming into play 2 seasons into their tenure. A bulky power struggle and Doug getting fired over Press again. 100 miles per hour. Bryce's drop back is bafflingly bad. Nick Ludwig says 300 yards into the woods, probably. Now, there's a lot of times it goes into the woods. I'm not going to lie to you. But a lot of times, Nick, that's a pure shot in the middle of the fairway. A lot of times. 100 miles per hour says, and we all know the owners love Baalke. So the likely outcome is Doug goes before Trent. Maybe. The only reason why I would disagree with you in this specific situation is that Trent Baalke kind of has a backlog of being bad, whereas Press Taylor only has 1 year. And again, I don't even really blame Press Taylor. The way that these defenses are playing us and the way that we have to call the games, we can't run the ball up the middle. Imagine calling an offense where you are unable to run the ball. Like, think about that. Like, there's other ways to compensate, right? Screen passes, sweeps, tunnel screens, things like that. But if you can't run the ball up the middle, imagine trying to call an offense. It'd be really hard. Volkfang says it doesn't matter if we make it to the playoffs if Trevor re-aggravates one of his many injuries. If we make it to the playoffs, we need a healthy Trevor. Very good point, Volkfang. Very good point. CJ Beathard's got this. Trust, says Isaiah Jones. I love it, Isaiah. Nick says, I don't think the offense struggling is entirely Press's fault. This just doesn't look like a well-coached team in all phases, and that's a Doug issue. Okay, that's fair, Nick. And there's been times when I've thought that same thing. But when I just back the scope up a lot and I just look at the entirety, it's hard for me to blame Doug. I don't know why. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I could be wrong. It's just hard for me to look at who Trent drafted this year. Anton Harrison, great pick. Great pick. But after that, did he do anything to help Doug Peterson? Did he do anything? Think about it. Like, this team went all in on a Super Bowl run this year. The way they signed free agents, the way they traded for receivers, the way they restructured contracts. They went all in on this Super Bowl run. And then you go and draft an abysmal draft. Abysmal. And the year before, not any better. Like how is Trent helping Doug? You tell me that. He went and got Calvin Ridley. At the moment, we thought that was a great move. And I still think it's better than people think. But beyond that, what has he done to help Doug Peterson? Like what? What has he done? Like re-signing Evan Ingram, okay, I'll give you that. Okay, I didn't think about that. Re-signing Evan Ingram, Anton Harrison, but outside of those two little things and all the things he could have done, I just don't really understand how he's helped Doug Peterson. He hasn't helped him. Urban Meyer has done more to help Doug Peterson than Trent Baalke has. Let that sink in for a second. Let that sink in. He drafted the greatest draft class this team has ever seen. He built the Miller Electric training facility. He put an emphasis on rehab and getting healthy and things like that. What has Trent Baalke done? Sorry, boys. I'm getting fired up here. Let me show a couple clips of film just so the people that are here to watch the film aren't just like, this guy sucks, okay? All right, here is, I'm just going to go in order of the ones I haven't shown. Here's Adam Thielen with a nice catch. I like Adam Thielen. I drafted him in my fantasy draft late in the drafts, and he's been paying off good. The Panthers game, I mean, look at this catch. I think this is one-handed. I mean, he's a dog. He's an absolute dog. I love Adam Thielen. I don't know why. I just love those little, scrappy, he's athletic, but he's not, overly athletic. Look at a guy like DK Metcalf, right? That's just a pure-bred athlete, right? Adam Thielen, and I'm taking skin color out of this, right? But Adam Thielen and DK Metcalf have nothing in common. They're two different types of receivers. I tend to root for the guys like this because they're scrappy, man. Great catch. Great, and to, again, not getting on skin color, because I love Christian Kirk for this same thing. Christian Kirk is the same type of player as Adam Thielen. They're probably identical. Both great slot receivers. And, I root for those guys because, they're not 6'4". They don't have an insane vertical leap, all right? They have to really perfect their craft of route running. And, I mean, Adam Thielen's a dog now. What else we got here? Okay, this is the offensive line does have, this is what the Panthers fans kind of talk about. The opposing teams blitz the Panthers a lot. They do have trouble picking up the blitzes. So do the Jags, right? So two peas in a pod, right? They have trouble picking up blitzes. I'm surprised Bryce Young hasn't had an injury because you see Quay Walker here, great draft pick, with the blitz here and does a good job there. Here's him getting sacked again. Packers again, they don't even blitz. They just rush 4. Nobody's open. Another case of Bryce Young kind of dropping his eyes a little early. They did a little cross block here with Miles Sanders and just nobody open. So if I would say bank on the Jags D-line getting a bunch of sacks, but I've said that the last couple of weeks and it hasn't happened. So yeah, here's the Saints. getting a strip sack on him. Like, terrible play action here. Let's just go back. Look. What's this play action? Who is this play action? Who is this play action fooling? You tell me that. Nobody. Saints ball. Here's your boy DJ Chark scoring a touchdown right here. Boom. Little post route. Love that. Here's your boy. Here's who I like. Amir Smith-Marset. I think he has a bright future. Little end around play. He's fast, man. Quick little guy right here. Touchdown, I think, right? Yeah, touchdown. So the Jags defense has not been good on these types of plays, right? You got to read your keys. You got to make sure that you're there. One of these rock, paper, scissors type plays where the Packers sent a stunt. The Packers sent a stunt and a blitz. So here's what I mean. They're going to stunt their D-line in, and they're going to blitz their nickel corner here. So when you see this tight, this is what I say when you're reading your keys. You need to be reading your keys here and seeing that he's coming across the block and know the ball's coming to the field. And they don't do that. 52 gets caught way down and can't make a play on this. But this is just a great offensive call here. Adam Thielen's a heck of a blocker too, man. I think that's part of why I like him. Here's your boy Miles Sanders. Y'all talking about Miles Sanders. Here's your boy Miles Sanders right here. A little cut up in space. You can't tackle me right there. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Miles. I don't need the Eagles. I have the Panthers. All right, I'm backed up on comments here. Oh, I'm really backed up. Shay says, bulky is the major problem causing all of the other symptoms. Trevor looking poor is a symptom of the O-line struggles, wide receiver separation issues, and lack of running game. Same for the defense. So you boys, that's why I told you to listen to Shay. If bulky goes, doesn't that mean Doug might be gone with the new GM? That's a good question. Depends on what they do. I mean, they could promote Tony Khan to GM, and then they keep him, right? We don't know. But it's a good question. I'm Team Doug over Balky, of course, but he hasn't had a great season, in my opinion. All of our guys who've missed time for injury, this is from Volkfang, have come back looking confused and playing bad, even when they were playing well before. Campbell, Cisco, Lloyd, Little, ETN, and all the wide receivers. That's a good point. Steven Giles donated $1.99 through Super Chat. Thank you, Steven. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Steven's one of our great commenters around here, so I appreciate that. Thank you for the $2. Appreciate that. 100 miles per hour says, felt like they did any, meeny, miny, mo or whatever on the draft board. I know. Nick Ludwig says, Balky really didn't do anything to improve the starting unit outside of trading for Ridley. Essentially 0 moves since it was straight switch for Anton and Taylor. And not only was it 0 moves, and I get like, let's run it back with who we have. Like, I get that. Like, that was the right strategy, honestly. Even the restructuring and the re-signings, like Devon Hamilton, Rashawn Jenkins, all the ones that we're kind of iffy about. Like, I still think that was the right move, but just what gets me is the last 2 drafts. He's done nothing to help them. Like, that's where if you're going to take that strategy of bring everyone back, let's run it back, at least fill the gaps with the draft. And they've done nothing to do it. They drafted guys in the 7th round who didn't make the team. Like, I know that happened, but why is that happening? Like, why is that happening? I get it. Take flyers on guys. I get it. But you look at, and I know they're one-offs, but look at guys like Brock Purdy, 7th round guy, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You know, they go, it's just, at least make the team if you're going to draft them. Like, go sign an unsigned free agent who's going to get cut before the season starts. Don't draft a guy. Nick Ludwig says, Balky really didn't. Oh, yeah, I started that one. Isaiah Jones says, if we somehow miss the playoffs, Trent needs to go. I agree. Nick Ludwig says, people refuse to give Urban any credit for 2021 draft, but since he's gone, Trent has had back-to-back bad drafts. I say this all the time. I'm not going to harp on it, but they did not bring Urban Meyer in for him to be just head coach. I promise you that. When they brought him in, they gave him carte blanche coach GM status. I promise you. So Urban Meyer drafted that draft. I know y'all don't want to believe it, but he did. I promise you. Sea Breacher says, Adam Thielen plays the game the right way. Nick Ludwig says, white wide receivers always find a way to get open on third down. I cannot explain it, but they're open every time. So let's take a look at this from a statistical point of view, okay? And I don't want to get into a race discussion here because this is not what this is. But you're saying white wide receivers always find a way to get open on third down. But I think the proper way to look at it is the only white wide receivers who make it in the league, because they're a minority compared to other wide receivers, are ones who can get open. So yes, it seems like that white wide receivers always get open on third down. I think the matter of the fact is the only reason why these white wide receivers are making the team is because they can get open on fourth down. Again, not a race discussion. I just think it's a different way to look at it. Robert Ayers says, Hunter Renfro's of the NFL. Timmy Devil says, Hey, Timmy Devil. I'd see you guys. Come here, he is. I had to disagree, United. Trent and Doug were admit that they both were involved in the draft process last year. Also, something definitely happened to their pick last year. I need you to expound on that. They moved back like 5 times to pick Harrison. Okay, good point. Good point. Adamant. Okay, that's what I thought you meant. I just didn't want to say it if that's not what you meant. Okay. Better go all out for pass rush and O-line plus sign T. Higgins. Totally agree with that. Jeff Blazeman says, if we go into next season with the same GM, nothing will get done and it will be a waste of cliffhanger. Robert Ayers says, I feel like you have Josh Allen on a tier of his own, then Walker, and no one else gets pressure at all. That's true. We also don't blitz anymore because our secondary has been depleted with injuries and we can't cover. So, to be fair, are you going to stick Dewey Wingard, Monteric Brown back there in man coverage? Because that's a bad idea. Nick Ludwig says, I feel like Doug is as equally bad at talent evaluation as Trent Baalke. Remember Doug wanted Icky, who's on the Panthers, and he's had a rough start to his career? To be fair, though, I mean, if you're going to just pick one player to use an example, he also wanted Jalen Hurts over Carson Wentz, and Jalen Hurts ended up being the right decision, and he got fired for that decision. And Jalen Hurts is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. So you're going to be wrong sometimes, you're going to be right sometimes, and I know I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because I'm talking about Trent Baalke not drafting well. But at least Doug Peterson has had a history of success, whereas Trent Baalke hasn't. So Robert Ayers says, Jags try that same play with Ridley every game, and it fails. It used to work. It used to work. Jeff Blazeman said, Leftwich wanted his own GM because he didn't want to work with Trent. Jeff, that's an angle I didn't think about. But yes, I agree with Robert. He would have been an awful hire. I do agree with that. Who won a Super Bowl as OC with Tom Brady? To be fair, Jeff, and I agree with you. I agree with your Leftwich statement. But I'm fairly certain I could have been an offensive coordinator and won a Super Bowl with Brady. Because look at what McDaniels has done as a head coach. Look, all the other offensive coordinators they've had. Even Bill Belichick looks pedestrian without Tom Brady, which is, as someone who has idolized Bill Belichick my entire life, I've read every book on Bill Belichick. I love Bill Belichick. He looks pedestrian without Tom Brady. So, just a counterpoint. Again, just a counterpoint. I love to play devil's advocate. Robert, there's no way for you to know that. Look at D'Amico. Volkfang says, Doug also has had a lot of say in the wide receivers drafted in Philly. Some famous misses there. But what is say? Like, we keep saying that. And you guys keep saying that. And I keep saying, he has say. What does that mean? I like this guy. I don't like this guy. Okay. Still doesn't pick him. So he has input. That's much different than drafting the person. It is much different. Input. I have input in a lot of areas of my work, and at the end of the day, I don't make the decision. And at the end of the day, I'm not responsible. And if shit hits the fan, I don't get fired for it. My boss does. So why doesn't football work that way? Right? Like, Doug has input, but Trent makes the decision. Shay says the amount of the street free agent edge rushers that were out there, even in the building, and then we get none of them, that's alone is an indictment on Balky. Okay, so again, I will play a little devil's advocate here again, Shay, and I hate doing this to Shay. But on the edge rush situation, I kind of see, in hindsight, it was a major gaffe by not going and getting somebody. We all can see that now. But in the moment, when your cap space is tiny, like you have no cap space, are you really going to, like, instead of saving cap space for an injury that could happen, do you go out and get a rotational edge rusher when you have K'Lavon Chaisson and Dawuane Smoot, who's coming back from injury eventually, on the roster? And I get it. In hindsight, you're like, K'Lavon's terrible. Dawuane Smoot was injured. I get it now, and now I get it. But I do see on the edge rush situation, and he ended up using that cap room at the trade deadline for an offensive lineman that we really, really needed more than an edge rusher, because Trevor is more important than an edge rusher. So the edge rusher thing is the only thing that I will kind of give Trent Baalke a little bit of leeway on, because in the moment I see where his mind's at. Now, should he have drafted an edge rusher in the 3rd round rather than Tank Bigsby or Brenton Strange? Yes, he should have. That's where he messed up, because he didn't really have the cap space to go sign one. Even guys like Arden Key ended up getting more money than we could afford. So it's the draft that kills me. And I get that the draft is 50-50, but, like, you didn't even draft the right positions, dude. Like, Luke Farrell is playing pretty decent, and he was in the building. Who's the back? D'Ernest Johnson is playing decent. He's in the building. Why use a 3rd round pick on those two guys? Golly, I'm talking a lot tonight. Sorry, guys. Robert Ayers, Doug also drafted Rager over Justin Jefferson. Callie Jag, did he get fired for that or dying on the Press Taylor cross? I think it was a combination of both, Callie. Appreciate you being here, Callie. Shay says also the amount of trades he was in on and barely missed on allegedly is also an indictment. That dude, Evan, channel member, says Cam will make a world of difference this game. ETN's going. I agree. Because is Anton Harrison playing? Like, I know Doug Peterson said he was like, hopefully he's going to play. But we had Cole Van Lanen playing right tackle. Cole Van Lanen's a guard, and we had him playing right tackle last game. So if we have the ability to move Walker Little to right tackle, if there's an injury, and you have Ezra Cleveland, like, now we're okay if Cam Robinson's back. And I agree with you. That makes a big difference with Travis Etienne. Volkfang says JJ Arkiga Whiteside, Jalen Rager. Yeah. Steven Giles says, so for the lack of fire or energy our players have shown on the field, maybe it's also a personnel issue more than coaching. After all, we know Cam Robinson brings the passion when he's out there. You're right. Steven, I'm with you. That's what I think the issue is. Shay says, Doug had say, sure, but the guy running the day-to-day operation of the roster is not good. You better be careful, Shay. You better be careful. That man doesn't sit far from you. Robert Ayers says, should have traded for one. Sweat or Young were available. But look what Young. But again, the problem with drafting Young was you would have to move Trevon inside in a 3-4, which he could have done, which is probably the right move. But if you really believe in Trevon Walker, then you can't take Young, because then they both play the same position. So what they needed in the draft or in the trade deadline was a rotational edge rusher that can come in on 3rd down, and Sweat or Young is not that. Now your other argument, Sweat, you just signed Devon Hamilton, and you just restructured Roy Robertson Harris. So you don't have the cap room for those guys. So yeah, he put himself in that position, but I don't think those were viable options at the trade deadline from their point of view. Jeff says, I agree with Shay about the free agent. Jeff, I agree with Shay about everything. Robert says, after the beginning of the season, you saw no pressure. Well, Josh Allen was getting pressure. The defense was playing good at the beginning of the season. Weren't we like first or second in DVOI in the first 6 weeks of the season? So first 6 weeks of the season, we were thinking that the decisions that were made were great decisions. But then what happened after that? Tyson Campbell had a serious injury. Andre Sisco had a serious injury. Devin Lloyd kind of dropped off a bit. Devon Hamilton wasn't playing at all. You didn't realize how much you missed him then. So someone's got to be responsible because we're in a situation where we have no cap room and we don't have a team that's winning. So that's on the GM. Timmy Devil says, speaking of Carson Wentz, do you think we have a Carson Wentz on our hands with Trevor Lawrence? Love Trevor, but he will be a journeyman in a few years. I'm just saying. Timmy, I don't agree with you there. And I respect you as a commenter, but I think Trevor Lawrence is a top 5 NFL quarterback. And I know he's not been playing well. He's been making mistakes. But the skill set and the package that he brings you is incredibly hard to find. So I would just say relax on Trevor. 100 miles per hour says we would kill to have Yaya Diaby right now, and he was a 3rd-round pick. Like, what happened to the freaking kid, the edge rusher we drafted? I can't remember his name. What happened to him? Yasir Abdullah. He's not good enough to crack this roster? Snoop Connor draft. LOL, might be worse. Can I get a life lesson to start off the new year? I think my life lesson, Sea Breacher, is going. I'm going to stick on this life lesson until the new year. And it's been about a month I've been saying this because this is how strongly I believe. And I say this all the time. It's about setting your New Year's goals. Write them down. Write them down on a piece of paper. I've gone off about it a bunch, but set short-term and long-term goals, both short-term and long-term, and write them down on a piece of paper. Put them somewhere you'll see them, and then every few months take a look at it and see where you're at. That'll do more to motivate you than anything can say, any social media video, any YouTube video. You writing down goals and then reflecting on them will do more for your motivation than any of that stuff. Now, here are the common traps people get into. Okay, 1, they don't write enough goals. Write a bunch of goals, a bunch. I think I do 10 on each, so 20 total goals. Second trap they do, they put them in their phone. The problem with putting them in your phone is you'll forget about them. How many notes do you have on your phone that you haven't looked at in years? Don't put them in your phone. Third one is you'll think them or say them to someone else and think that counts. It's not going to count. You got to write them down. I'm telling you, just try it. If you try it this year, do it tomorrow, do it the day after, write them down. I promise you, you will do that. You will do it for the rest of your life. I promise you. There's your life lesson. And I know it's an old one, but I'm not afraid to recycle life lessons because it's important. Robert Ayers says the Bears, after signing Sweat, have a top defense now. Yeah, but they also only have 3 or 4 wins? So we need to donate Trevor some gloves or something. They wanted Burns from Carolina. They didn't trade Brian. I have Brian. Look, I have some Brian Burns videos. We probably need to show some videos here. Brian Burns is a heck of a player here, man. Coming off the right edge right here. Gets held. I mean, he actually hasn't been too effective the last few weeks. That's a good player. Very good player. Frankie Louvu was a good player. He's going to blitz here. He's actually questionable. I hope he's okay. I hope he doesn't play. Good blitz here. Good delayed blitz right here. Watch this. Bam. Circled the wrong guy. Sorry, guys. 49. CJ better watch out. Xavier Woods has an INT right here. We actually, I'm not gonna lie, I cherry picked this play from the Bucks breakdown. I'm not gonna lie. If you watched the Bucks breakdown, you saw this play. But Xavier Woods. Here's them giving up an end around against the Bucks. Like, I know we said that like doesn't work when we do it, but hopefully it works with Ridley. I don't know. Hopefully. We just can't block. Aaron Jones. This is just one clip I was going to play about how like Aaron Jones tore up the Panthers. Like absolutely tore up the Panthers. So I hope ETN can do it too, man. And like with Cam Robinson back, giving Walker a little flexibility to kind of fill in with some of these injuries, I think we can maybe run the ball. But I mean, Aaron Jones torched the Panthers. Absolutely torched the Panthers. So let me just show one more play here since we're running out of time. We're not running out of time. I'm not ending, but like we're getting long-winded here. Okay, for those of you that watched the Friday show last week, remember when I said that the Bucs like were really weak against the punt block and how like we saw on film a lot of teams like block punts and almost block punts against the Bucs, and we still didn't send pressure. Like, what are we doing? Send pressure. If you notice a team gets punts blocked, go try and block a punt. That means they're not good at it. Okay? So why not go after a punt? The Panthers are not good blocking punts. They're not good. So go after the punt. Is this rocket science? Like, we didn't even try. We went safe punt return every single time. Go get a punt. Oh no, roughing the punter. 15-yard penalty. Is that any worse than a false start that gives them a first down that we're going to do anyways? I just don't get it, man. I feel like I'm living in crazy town. 100 miles per hour says, what's crazy is Yasir had a preseason sack and great pressure when he plays. Timmy says, I said, will he? I didn't say he was. Just putting the question out there. Carson was once in the MVP race. Okay. Nick Leather says, Michigan or Alabama? I think Bama's going to win the whole thing. And I like Washington. I think it's going to be Washington or Bama. I think that's who's going to win. Again, I don't watch I watch a quarter of college football that I watch pro football because I go back and watch pro football games, as you guys know. But it seems like Alabama's kind of clicking on all cylinders. And here's the problem is like Alabama, Georgia, I hate to sound like prejudice here, but these Southeastern teams like are just loaded on their depth chart. So like in the situation of Georgia and Florida State, most of Florida State's starters are flocking to the NFL or injured in Jordan Travis's situation. Georgia also has players going to the NFL, but they're so loaded it doesn't matter. 100 miles per hour becomes a member for 2 months. 2 months. And he's on the Matt Jones level. I love that. Thank you, 100 miles per hour. Appreciate that. I mean, you guys are killing it tonight with the channel members and the super chats. So yeah, I think Alabama or Washington is the team to watch. And again, I gave you my justification. I just think they're loaded. I think their rosters are loaded. Kids transfer from those schools that don't get playing time and end up being the best players on the teams they transfer to. It is what it is. Jeff Blazeman says the pass rusher got his healthy scratch each week. Ayer says if Jaguars let Adam Thielen cook, I think this season has been a waste for Trevor and Bulky has to go. He goes on to say, what did you think of the Bucs O-line guy mic'd up and punking all the Jags D-line? And that was Mike Godke, a guy we talked about on this show a couple days ago, being a liability. He gave up so many sacks. PFF grade's not good, and he's punking out us. That's what hurt, is that he wasn't a good player. If he was a good player, I'd be like, yeah, punk us out, dude. We suck. But the fact that you're a mid player and you're going to say that to us, that kind of hurt a little bit. Yasir Abdulli is healthy. They just don't suit him up. Isaiah Jones gives a thumbs down. That's probably to the Alabama comment. 100 miles per hour says, when I sleep at night, Luke Fortner haunts my room like Benadryl Shadow Man. I don't even know what that means. But it was funny enough where I'm going to look it up. Benadryl. Is this a real thing? Shadow Man. Benadryl Hat Man. Well, this is drugs.com. This is a real thing? This is a real thing? The Hat Man is a fictional figure that started appearing on certain internet sites in the early 2000s, recently been referred to as the Benadryl Hat Man, after reports of people hallucinating and citing him after overconsumption or abuse of Benadryl. Most of these reports have appeared on Reddit and image-based bulletin site 4chan. The Hat Man is also associated with abuse of mind-altering substance taken to excess, and there's a mini documentary about him being associated with sleep paralysis. What, dude? What? This is terrifying. Shadow person. Do not take Benadryl to meet the Hat Man.
I can't take Benadryl because I owe the Hat Man money, and I just don't want to see him.
So lately, since I've been talking about Benadryl and the dangers of this medication,
Oh, wait, hold on.
I've been seeing comments
I'm an
lately
idiot,
about
guys,
this Hat Man character, and I had no idea what it was about, so I did a little bit of a deep dive into it, and it's a little disturbing. Since the late 2000s, people have been reporting on the internet seeing this figure called Hat Man, and this blog has been running since the late 2000s, sharing stories about people's encounters with this individual. The idea that somebody may owe the Hat Man money is nothing new. This is a tweet from October 2022 talking about it's floating around where people may say they're going to have an appointment with the Hat Man in relation to taking this medication.
All right. Life lesson, don't do that. Don't do that. I hope Cam's coming back is the adrenaline, the shot the O-line needs. He's so bad. Not Luke Fortner. Luke Fortner and thumbs down. When is Cooper Hodges coming back, Joanna? I don't know, Joanna. Cooper Hodges. News. Sort by past month. I can't read all this, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know. If you take a bunch of Benadryl, people say they see the Hat Man. I only take medicine if I'm like on death's door, which I don't get sick very often. I've taken ibuprofen probably 5 times in the last 10 years. I don't really need medicine. I'm not against medicine. I just don't need it. So don't worry about that. Jeez, this Hat Man thing's kind of scary. I might have a dream about Hat Man tonight. Nick says, I never had a Benadryl Hat Man experience, but I've had sleep paralysis and the demon shadow standing over me had Bill Belichick's face. That's what Luke Fortner is to me. The Hat Man. Haha, that Panthers tape must be bad. It's not good. Yes, I gave up on the tape 5 minutes in. Jason, your other channel should go into some crazy deep dives like the Benadryl Hat Man, says William. I just like learning. I like to learn. I like to read and learn and things like that. And I had never heard of that. And I'm very educated now. I'm afraid I'm going to see the Hat Man in my dreams tonight. I've had sleep paralysis like one time, and it was actually kind of recently. And like I had a dream where I was like, dang, I know I'm dreaming and I can't wake up. It was very weird. Very weird. So, but that was recently, like a couple months ago. I remember being like, oh, that's what sleep paralysis is. So, I think that's a good spot to end the show. The Benadryl Hat Man. And maybe we'll just, I was going to put this. That's terrifying. That's terrifying. We're going to end the show there. Appreciate you guys watching the show. Please, you know what? I can't even do the Hat Man. You guys are going to have nightmares. Your kids watch this channel. I can't do that. We can talk about John Wayne Casey on the other channel and give a life lesson on it. I have it all the time. I wake up and can't move, and my arms and my eyes are open. It's odd. My eyes are open. It's odd. That is terrifying. That's more terrifying than that. I got to close this window. Just the fact that it's on this other monitor is terrifying me. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Thank you to all the people that were here, all the commenters. I had a lot of, listen, 4-game losing streak, playing the worst team in the NFL with our backup quarterback playing, and you guys were still in here talking Jags. I freaking love it, man. I freaking love you guys. Thank you so much. You guys give me so much joy in my life just talking Jags with you guys. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the channel members here. 100 miles per hour, Shay, Nick Ludwig, Chandler Berger, Sea Breacher. Who else was in here? That dude, Evan, Volk Fang. We had all kind of channel members in here tonight. I really appreciate it. Steven Giles, thank you for the $2. That means a lot to me that you guys were being here and contribute to the channel. That means a lot. So thank you guys. I will see you guys on Tuesday night when we break down the win against the Panthers, because we're going to win, and it's going to be good. So it'll be a good time. Have a happy and fun and safe New Year's Eve, boys. Please be safe, man. Please. I promise you. I don't want to hear any bad stories about your New Year's Eve, okay? Be smart. Call an Uber. Figure something out. Ride your bike. I don't care. Do something smart, okay? I'll see you guys. Have a good night. Yes, Shay says like and subscribe. Do that. Hit the like button. Tell a friend if you want. I will see you guys on Tuesday. And until then, go Jags.